I'm in full Archivo de la Memoria trans gear, as you can see. They are selling these books to support the organization. So you can come and speak to the team later if you want, and these t-shirts. So. Okay. Oh, no, they're sold out of the t-shirts, but you can still get these books. Okay. So welcome to day 2 of the Afield Forum. I'm Chantal. I'm the director of Afield. I'm a very proud director of Afield. I just want to go through a few participant guidelines to make sure that the space is safe and everybody is taking care of themselves. So we are committed to fostering a space that embraces a radical diversity of ideas and identities while upholding freedom of expression and supporting diverse voices. This forum brings together a wide range of perspectives, and participants are expected to engage openly and respectfully. As participants, you may encounter views or experiences different from your own. We ask that you approach these conversations with care, mindful of the broader social and historical contexts in which they take place. This forum will include discussions of human rights, violations, war, genocide, gender-based violence, torture, enforced disappearances, amongst topics that will be deeply distressing to individuals who may be present. We encourage you to take care of each other and to take care of yourselves as a priority. Also, there will be a photographer that's walking around. And if you aren't comfortable with being photographed, then please wear a blue ribbon, which is available downstairs at the welcome desk, and wear it in a place where it's relatively visible, and the photographer will try to avoid taking frontal photos of you, same with the videographer. Let us know if there's anything else that we can do to support your comfort and sense of safety. So we have a few programs this afternoon before I hand it over to Laura. This is on archives. I'm going to let Laura introduce the speakers after. And then following this, we have a panel on Colombia, the Truth Commission and Recovering Lost Knowledge, with speakers Manuel Correa and Hannah Mezaros Martin, moderated by Ella Joyner, that really deeps dive into the recent history of Colombia and the Truth Commission and their work in relation to that. Then we have a film screening program titled In Pursuit of Justice, The Role of Film, with contributions by Alejandra Balon, Manuel Sevinas Ebdike, Joanna Haji Thomas, and Khalil Shoresh, Basil Nasser, and Ukraine War Archive, Sasha, who is also going to be speaking. We will then we have a keynote back at Bers with Elizabeth Povinelli and Federico Campagna from 6 to 7:30. And tonight, I just wanted to mention that there is a dance performance by Leah Rodriguez's group, and we may have marked it at 9 p.m. in our program, but in fact, it's at 8, if I understand correctly. So just to make sure that we don't get those, if you have the tickets, just to make sure that you're there at 8. The full program with all the bios and summaries can be downloaded from the QR code to the front near the entrance. And a bit cheesy, but we do encourage you to fill out a survey at the end of your day with us, which is also available on the QR code from the screen, just so that we know whether this was valuable for you and how we can improve next year. Okay, that's the housekeeping, and I'm going to pass it on now to Laura Dubois, who is a correspondent for the Financial Times based in Brussels and has reported on the impacts of EU migration, the circumvention of the EU sanctions against Russia, and corruption in the European Parliament, amongst other issues. Over to you, Laura.
Thank you so much. Yes, so welcome to this panel on archives as a tool of transitional justice. We will be looking at 3 different archival projects that use documentation in very different contexts, and we'll be looking at how these projects have been used as tools of memory, of resistance, as potential evidence, and other things. So I've got 3 excellent panelists with me. I've got Maria Belén Correa, who is a trans activist. She co-founded the Association of Transvestites of Argentina in 1993, and then she also founded and directs the Archivo de la Memoria Trans, which was founded in 2012 and which preserves and promotes trans memory in Argentina. And then I've got with me Joachim Ben-Yacoub, who is a cultural worker and also a writer and dramaturg. And he teaches at the St. Lucas University in Antwerp, aesthetic theories, if I'm not mistaken. And he also conducts research there and facilitates research at the École de Recherche Graphique in Brussels. And he's part of First Waves, a platform founded in September last year, which shares overlooked stories and struggles of the Maghrebi and Black diasporas in Belgium. And then, Sasha Nabieva, who is of the Ukraine War Archive, which is a platform that collects materials related to Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Sasha's a curator and researcher, specializing in cinema and media art. And she also heads the lab DocuSynthesis, which is a creative lab founded last year, working with the materials from the archive. And she's also the curator of an interdisciplinary art program, which is part of the International Human Rights Documentary Film Festival in Ukraine called DocuDays, which actually has the next edition coming up. So to start, we'll have some presentations from the panelists about their work. And I think we're going to begin with Maria Belén. Oh, and yes, we have an excellent translation from Spanish into English as well.
It's something to help me because I don't speak perfect English and help me here. Pueden ser desde fotos, negativos, cartas postales, VHS, recortes periodísticos, diarios y revistas que forman en su conjunto el acervo de una comunidad trans.
Mi nombre es Ornella Vega, me dicen Tete, estoy en el área de conservación y bueno, y acá estoy con la compañera que viene a prestar su fotografía. Les voy a tomar los datos, voy a llenar la planillita. Bueno, como ya tenemos la firma y la autorización de la compañera Pamela acá en el archivo para poder limpiar la fotografía, una vez que limpiemos la fotografía, esto va a pasar a digitalización y como es préstamo, se la vamos a devolver encarpetada, ensobrada y después se la va a llamar a ella para que se la den a buscar o se la mandamos.
Mi nombre es Carolina Alejandra Figueredo, estoy en el área de conservación. En este momento voy a recibir el fondo que me trae Pamela Paisani. Bueno, se hace el primer paso, la limpieza de la pinceleta, y si no, como opción tenemos la pipeta.
Acá tengo armada la cajita de Pamela Micaela Paisani y es para guardar la fotografía que ya queda como fondo fotográfico.
Hola, soy Michelle Aguilera, trabajo en el Archivo de la Memoria Trans. Acá tengo el molde para hacer las cajitas, para poder poner las fotos. Una vez que se pone el papel arriba, se va cortando todo, armo la cajita, ahí, y ya lo queda la cajita con todas las fotos acá adentro.
Mi nombre es Marcela Navarro, estoy en el área archivística. Una vez que las fotos están limpias, pasamos al tratamiento archivístico, que es a donde asignamos un código. El código es de identificación del archivo de la memoria trans.
Soy Sonia Torrese, pertenezco al área de digitalización y escaneamiento del material que se trae. Y dentro de la carpeta está un sobre con sus respectivas series y códigos.
Momento que entré no sabía ni siquiera aprender de una computadora. Y es el día de hoy que no puedo creer todo el trabajo manual que pude aprender a hacer.
Me gusta mucho trabajar en el archivo, me abrió mucho la mente. Me considero otra persona ahora. Me considero una persona capacitada, útil.
Disfruto cada momento desde que entro hasta que salgo de aquí, viendo a otras compañeras que traen sus historias también.
Desde el año 2018, fines del 2018, que estoy con las chicas. Es mi lugar. O sea, dije, este es mi lugar y esto es lo que me gusta y bueno, y acá estoy. Y voy a seguir hasta donde tenga que seguir.
Well, want to start with that to can look the real job to is in Argentina with one group to girl to plus to 50 years to is the girl to really start to protect that history. All the archival is for protect one history and after for future can use for thesis, working, but the most important for having justice for that person because we register in this archival the persecution to have it our country, Argentina, for many, many years. We have a democracy for a cis person in Argentina for 1983. But the real democracy or the transsexual person is after 2012, and the moment to the Argentinian give you our document with the low identity and stop to do the persecution for our population and start to do the políticas de inclusión. Inclusive politics, thank you, for take care the person. I will think to if you do a question will be better because we have a different process. We start in 2012. We start in working inside of one personal house, and now we have a one space thanks to International Trans Foundation or different group to support, and also the collaboration. Or when we sell book, we pay the transsexual work with that thing. But if you have some question, maybe it's simple for me.
Yes. So, what was your sort of personal reason that led you to start the archive?
Well, first, in the moment, I have one long friend to also do it the first organization in 1993. I do it with one friend. The moment that friend continued with the activist, she died in 2012, and then 3 months before to the law identity approved, she working so much for that. And the agency to I receive is one big box to in time have it to that box have 6,000 documents. And the first question to I think what I can do with that box. And the first thing to I imagine is do it with that box complete, do it one archival, the archival for Claudia Pia. But, oh, yes, she is Claudia Pia Baudraco. She is my friend. When the moment she died, 3 months before to the low identity, the family give me the las cenizas de su cuerpo, the ashes from her body, give me that, and the box. And with that box, I can start the first exposition, like to one LGBT group. And then other transsexuals say, also, I have a photos. And I want to also collaborate and then start the little by little from 2012 in one caseramente. the domestic way we start to collect with any training for Archivo, with really any training. We don't know nearly, we start to do that with any information, and also no teníamos conciencia de lo que estábamos haciendo. Ayúdame con el micrófono. Dale.
I think Belen does it very well.
No.
So anyway, they were not very conscious of what they were doing at the beginning.
And after the person to look our job start to put in other position, and we start to do it one conciencia.
Yes,
Empezamos a tener
self-consciousness, yeah.
conciencia de lo que estábamos haciendo.
After a while, they started to be very conscious about what they were doing.
Maybe in the moment we start, we don't know specific what kind of. My idea first is collect the photo for my family, the trans family, my friends, my different friends, and the friends to my friend, and try to go the most past in the time possible. I don't have many conscience. To in that moment when I started in 2012, some other person inside to the group to say what kind of important job we do it. Also, we have a one time to the process to that is one job to we do it private, intimate for our family. I imagine to only that I recover that photo for other transsexuals have the option to the photo, have it. But some other person say, no, that need go to the society and know that kind of picture because never look. Because normally the picture to the society know about to the transsexual was the picture for the photographer, for the police, or for other eyes. That this picture is taken for one part to our family, one friend taking the picture. And that is the difference. And some photographers put attention in that and say that is art, that is a different picture to kind because taken with love. And then do it, maybe that we start with any conscience after, no, we do it.
Thank you. I think now we go to the next
Perfect.
presentation, Joachim.
All right. Thank you. Is it possible to play the jingle I shared, or? I think it would be a great start.
إذاعة الوفاء العربية بوفائها معكم كل يوم. وتقدم لحضرتكم هذه البرامج.
All right. So thank you for the invitation to present and share with you First Waves. First Waves is an open platform that we launched exactly September last year here in Brussels, and it gathers different stories from two different communities, diasporic communities here in Brussels, the Maghrebi community and the Black community. And it documents, let's say, these diasporic presences from the onset until the 2000s. No? But just to be clear, so it's a collective working process, and I'm just one of the persons working on the project. So we are many, and it's actually a platform that unifies two different engagements, right? The Black struggle and the Maghrebi struggles here in Brussels. And so Latifa Abdou, Ilke Adam, Bambi Keupens are really engaged with the Black histories of Brussels. And my engagement together with Mustafa Ben Taleb and many others are more engaged with the Maghrebi histories. So I'm here to speak about the Maghrebi histories, right? And so the jingle that you heard from the start, I thought would be a nice way to start. It's a jingle of Radio Al Wafa, which was a radio was a free radio, right? Like in the beginning was a pirate radio on the FM frequency, and one of the first Arabic radios in Brussels. And so it's a good example, I think, of the kind of work that we've been doing on the first wave platforms. On the first wave platform is the methodology was really to speak with the the witnesses, no, and the protagonists of these histories, no, that are still alive and are leaving us little by little. So also doing this work, it's a collaborative work with the protagonists that are still alive, and so we have many dinners and drinks and meetings. But I think every couple of months, people leave us, and there are also, evenings organized to remember those who pass away. And so this is really like the relational work behind the website or the platform, the open platform, which it's through these meetings and conversations and interviews that we did, we also collected material, and we digitized a lot of material, and in collaboration with different institutional archives, most of them socialist archives, we kind of restitute these memories. So it's a collective memory work we're doing basically in the kitchen. And the kitchen, it's a space we share also with different artists, curators and researchers here in Brussels. And it's a place of study, of collective study. And I think the preoccupation that connects us is also the question of memorial justice, right? Memory work and finding ways to restitute, the lost stories. And so, yeah, I invite you to visit the platform. It's firstwaves.be. And I think maybe just to say something about first waves, because it's not like claiming the first waves, because it's really about this contradiction. And on the homepage of the website, there's a beautiful excerpt of one of the books of Dries Schreiby, a Moroccan author, who describes the impossibility to count the waves, right? And so I think the first waves is also a question posed by Philomena Esset, a researcher in Amsterdam, considering Black histories, that asked the question with the whole decolonial wave and the struggle for Black life, the Black Lives Matter struggle, that she said that's a second wave. That was a second wave. And so one of the questions was what preceded us, right? And so the whole engagement was really to think together and collectively what preceded us. What are the first waves, not in plurality, like the many waves that precede us.
Thank you. Sasha, do you want to go next with your presentation?
Yeah, probably it will be nice to do this, but I need a clicker. Can somebody help me with this? Thank you for invitation, first of all. Thank you for presentation and for intro. Yes, as it's been mentioned, I'm a part of the Ukraine War Archive team, and yeah, I'll try to. Yeah, so this is a huge database that collects materials about Russian crimes during Russian-Ukrainian war, and it was launched in 2022, obviously, for the obvious reason. Here are some numbers, so you can see and explore them here. So there are a lot of, yeah, I'll back it. we have 37 million downloaded media files, 24 million files from open sources, and there are a lot of partners, there are a lot of partnership organizations that we are cooperating with, and we also have a department that is working directly with interviewing with survivors of Russian occupation, with the witnesses, and this department works directly with these witnesses and record interviews with them, audio and video interviews. Yeah, we, of course, our aim is to preserve the history, and also we want to be to preserve the evidences about our Ukrainian life during the full-scale invasion in wide terms, not only like evidences of crime, but the evidences of our everyday life during this full-scale war. And yeah, you can see that we are, I'm sorry, unified archive of video and audio materials about the war in Ukraine. We have a single registry of materials, and we have a hybrid approach, online cloud storage and offline backups, several offline backups. And we keep data integrity. We keep original materials preserved with authenticity metadata. People of archive, there are our co-founders, and we work in hybrid form, mostly online. There are more than 50 team members in Ukraine and abroad in our team. Of course, we want to keep the truth about the full-scale war to facilitate accountability. The second goal is to provide access to researchers, legal experts, law enforcement, documentarians, journalists, artists, directors, so on and so forth, and of course to preserve the history for the future. Important thing to mention that we are a closed database, and every single user can enter from their specific IP address. There are viewing only, no downloads. To download material, there are a complicated procedure to do this. Our materials are all watermarked, and of course we have user verification before the access, and as I've mentioned before, hybrid data preservation. There are a lot of tools to work with archive. We have, of course, our materials are strictly categorized, but we have some user categories that we can define. There are artists, researchers, NGOs, media, mostly. We also have the research tool named lenses. It's an instrument that grab the materials from open sources like social media sources in order to explore Russia propaganda. And the last part of work with archives is data expert process. This is a quick a screenshot from this material, from this instrument lenses that I've mentioned before. And we also, of course, we also work with create and engage in some public projects. we participate in creating a unified catalog of documentary initiatives, because probably you are familiar with this title of Russian-Ukrainian war as the most documented war in the whole history of humanity. That is why we Ukrainians are trying to systematize this work and to collaborate in between, to collaborate with other organizations. And of course, we are focusing on work with artistic work with archives, as Laura mentioned. So I am a curator of such kind of laboratory with a complicated title, DocuSynthesis Lab, interdisciplinary art lab that is based on Ukrainian War archive materials, and we also the part of the Ukraine War team that is working with interviewing with that interviewing witnesses that I've mentioned before. They also creates documentary based on these materials. There are several of them. Witnesses north of Kiev. This one is dedicated to the survivors of Russian occupation in Kiev region. Witnesses Captivity Kills. This one is dedicated to survivors of relatives of prisoners in Olenivka. It's a famous Russian prison that where a lot of Ukrainian prisoners, soldiers were killed. Yes, so the part that is connected with artistic work, we will focus only on lab, because I think that we have a lack of time. So this is our laboratory. Why is it's vanishing? Okay, so we launched it in 2024. So it's annual project, and we presented it in Ukraine and at ITFA. It's the biggest documentary film festival in Europe, actually, in Netherlands, in Amsterdam. And then we made an open call, review applications, choose the participants of laboratory. Then we provided an educational module for the laboratory, and then participants started to work with archive materials with the help of our mentors, our brilliant mentors. There are 4 of them. And the result of this work will be an exhibition within the frame of DocuDSUA, Documentary Film Festival, that Laura also mentioned before. And yeah, this is our presentation at ITFA. This is our educational module. Just a couple of photos, not to make it too boring for you. And this is the list of the winning projects of our laboratory. And actually, you will be able to see one of them. It's Recovered Memory. The second one, they changed their title because the film is still in progress. It was created by Alexandra Platonetska and Anna Mikhaenko. And this film is dedicated to Ukrainian resilience during this war, in terms of keeping and concerning about cultural heritage and memory. And yes, one of the important things that I forgot to mention, that the whole laboratory is dedicated to the topics, the following topics: cultural heritage and memory. So this is also an attempt to fight this Russian attempt to erase Ukrainian identity in some sophisticated, with the help of some sophisticated artistic tools. Yeah, this is just a plan for our final exhibition, the 3D visualization. Yeah, I think that's it. And if you will survive our talk, our panel, I invite you to watch this film in progress. It will start at 6:30, if I'm not mistaken. At 6. 6, yes? At 6, yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for these presentations. So I'd be curious to hear, obviously you guys all have very different projects, different kinds of things that you put in your archives and different methods of choosing them. So I would be interested in hearing how you go about this process. How do you choose what comes into the archive? What kind of technologies do you use? Maria Belén, you've said you started with a box, but now it's become such a big project. How has that been?
Quiere saber cómo que empezaron con una caja, pero ahora cómo es el proceso metodológico del archivo. Entonces, cuéntanos los
In this moment, well, we have it, the start process like to home style, and now we are more professional, like to look in the video. In this moment, we have it between 25,000 and 30,000 documents. We training transsexual person plus to 50 years to use all the work. Imagine to is transsexual to never have a job and person to never use computer. And we start to do the training to do the professional in Archivo. We training every time the girl. We have it also contract teachers to working together with the girl. We have it in the group 16 persons. And the administration and the project is with the transsexual person make. And I don't know, me perdí en la pregunta.
que simplemente cómo es el método.
The most professional, now we use the most professional possible, like international normal, with the atom, with the register, like to the all archival exist. We do many training to try the most professional in this moment, to do a competition with whatever archival.
And can people submit as well? How does it work? I know you focus on the 20th century mostly.
Que si se concentran en el siglo XX, pero también puedes contar que después de las 6 hay también las 14, 18 personas que trabajan, ¿no?
We start to do it with the use the analogic material. That thing to do with the division automatic between the virtual history and the analogic. We start with the first document to insight from 1990, 1980, and start to working more back possible. The document older, we have it is 1945, this picture for Malva Solis. And we receive all kinds of documents like picture, magazine, newspaper, DVD, VHS, VHS, all the material to can complete the history for the transsexual person in Argentina.
And Sasha, you mentioned technology and sort of this tool lens to scrape the internet. I'd be interested in hearing how technology is sort of used as a tool to gather archival materials.
Well, the main source of gathering archive materials, I guess, our partners more, but by partners, by term partners, I mean either organizations, either like a person or probably group of persons. I'm talking about, for example, directors and artists that are fighting at the front line now, and they also are collecting some materials and providing them to our archive directly. But the whole process is quite complicated. There are some agreements, the official procedures, some agreements, yes, and also it is important to mention that we provide 3 levels of access to materials. So they are marked in 3 by 3 categories. They are divided by 3 groups. The first one is the most the easiest to see, the easiest to explore, the easiest to access. The second one, and so on and so forth. So this is like briefly our system to work.
Joachim, what about you?
No, it's what I said in the introduction. I think the main part of the way we work is relational. So it's based on meetings and encounters. Like the meeting with Mustafa Ben Taleb was really formative for me, which I would describe him as the guardian of the Maghrebi histories in Brussels, right? He's himself from that period of time, but he's carrying the weight of the responsibility of writing out these stories. And so it's really through the meeting with him that it started. No? And through meeting him, I think we met like the whole, like different collectives who were active in the 70s and the 80s, and some of them are still active today, no? So that relational aspect was really important, even though, you know, it's First Waves is a platform, and it's an open digital platform, so it's an online platform, and the translation from that relational work to the platform is also important, I think, because through the conversations we have and the testimonies we gather, so we do interviews with as many people as we can, and from these conversations we start to weave out different stories, and then we look for the material that can support the stories that are being told and can expand on these stories. And so you won't find on the platform you know, series or collections of all the, for instance, radio shows or journals or posters or postcards or books. You will find fragments and bits and pieces that are connected to the stories that we gather. And so the platform is also structured in that way that you can click on a story, and that story will bring you to another fragment, to an image, to a film, and in that way we reconstruct that you know, that relational aspect of the work.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned a relational aspect, and Maria Belén, you've spoken about family and community as well. I was wondering what role that plays in gathering the material and what role the community plays in this work.
Okay, we are family because we know each to the person, and it's confianza.
Trust.
The most important is the trust in the project, and the girl bring the material because know is the way to can protect for the history, because historic, the family destroy the picture for the transsexual, because it's the part to destroy the memory, to try to the black lamb to the family is no more in the moment to the person die. For that, all the transsexual know that protect the first for the family, the picture, protect for the society, protect for the police, protect the picture, and that is the way to trust in us for we do the job for protect with one archival, one professional. We started in 2012. We have a many process to before the girl don't believe in us, after start to maybe some good project, and after in this moment, after we have a book and different exposition, something like to come into here and speak about to our project, the transsexual community in Argentina really trusts in our job and is part direct to that process also for make justice, because now the transsexual community, the close to 50 years, start to make one new law for historic reparation for the persecution to the country have it for us, for our body, and for that part to nearly the 100% to that archival in future will be do it for we maybe have a justice and one reparation for the country for all bad to do it with us. And maybe I think the, the correct say is believe in us. The girl believe in us.
Sasha, one thing you mentioned to me when we were preparing from this panel was staying sane and sort of doing this documentary work as a means of staying sane during a conflict. Can you talk a bit more about this aspect of doing this as a community, but also as a mean of, sanity, I guess?
Yes, so our structure is quite complicated. I understand it's hard to explain it in 2 minutes and to make everyone aware of it. So the thing is, the co-founders of the Ukraine War Archive initially were NGO DocuDays, DocuDays UA International Documentary Human Rights Film Festival that Laura mentioned at the beginning. And the biggest part of the team of the Ukraine War Archive are actually the workers of Documentary Human Rights Film Festival. And when the full-scale invasion began, we were preparing the 21st, I guess, no, the 20th edition of our festival. And when it started, we were, of course, frustrated, confused, and we still were gathering for our job meetings here, and were hearing the sounds of explosions that were accompanied actually by sounds of explosions. The biggest part of team were in Kiev, and yes, when we kept together, kept to make work Zooms, work calls, job calls, and this initiative, the Ukraine War Archive, this database, it was launched in March, so the month after the full-scale invasion started. And this was a sort of an act of resilience itself for our team, because it organized us, it kept us a little bit concentrated on work, on some job tasks, and not on the reality of war and all these horrible things that were happening around us all this time. Yeah.
Thank you. We've spoken, yes, you said resilience, we've spoken about community as well. What are other ways in which your archive has been used as a tool to push for justice? Joachim, do you want to start?
Yeah. No, I think the archive inscribes itself in a process of memorial justice, and it's a collective work of memorial justice in the sense that there's a sense of, forgetting and silencing of the kind of stories that we try to put out in the open, no? And so this memorial work, I think it speaks to the Maghrebi community in Brussels and to the lack of infrastructure. I think the lack of space, the lack of means to collect that memory, no? In a way that that is sustainable and speaks to the community. I think in Belgium we have this this habit of celebrating and commemorating history. So every now and then there is the 30 years, 40 years, 50 years of migration, and then you have resurgences of memory. And for instance, of the Maghrebi history or of the colonial history of Congo, and so now and then it emerges, but there's no place where it can be sustained, right? And then I think that's why I was also talking about restitution in a way that I think that is being, a preoccupation of the collective. Every time one of the witnesses or the protagonist passes away, they leave traces, they leave books, they leave pamphlets, they leave posters, they leave stories, and and there's no place to gather these stories. And then the idea of restitution in that memory work and the struggle for memorial justice is also a negotiation with different institutions that take care of these memories. But when you do the work, you see that these memories are scattered, right? They are scattered in many different places. And the access to these different places is oftentimes difficult and needs to be negotiated. You need, again, to find the means and the right, the copyright. It's also often protected through copyright. And so even let's say the protagonists or the owners of this memory don't have access to their own material, right? So that's the sense of memorial work that we are doing. It's open. It's an open platform, First Waves, but there's also the material question of the infrastructure of memory. Like where do you gather? Everything is digitized, of course, and can be multiplied and is open to be used by anyone, as opposed to like archival institutions that are more closed. But what to do with the material we digitized, right? We digitized 500 hours of radios and many, many journals. But what to do with the cassettes and the journals? What to do with the libraries of those who passed away, right? What to do with all the posters? And this is still a remaining question. So, the whole initiative is based on engagement and collective engagement, but they're very, fragile, right? It's fragile memory work.
Maria Belén, what about you? How has your archive been used as a tool to push for justice, to push for reparations?
Well, in Argentinian historic time, we have it one dictator time in Argentina between 1976 to 1983. And it's the first time also to the society put in the court the military person. Only in Nuremberg in Argentina exists the situation to the society put in court and doing justice with the military and doing that. And that process continued to the different area for torture. In Argentina exists the Pozo de Banfield, is the name for the center. And for first time, the fiscal, one of the lawyer for doing the sentence, called 10 transsexual for our group because that the lawyer looked videos to post with the testimony with 10 girls to pass and have a history inside together with the society, right? But never include in that kind to hear in the justice hear the transsexual and include the testimonial. And thanks to that, true, the testimony to the 10 girls condenaron.
Condemned. But you're talking about the
Sí,
state lawyer.
Good, thank you.
Sí, fiscal.
Fiscal.
Sí, pero en inglés.
Claro, pero no sabía en inglés fiscal. 10 to the girl do the testimony, and 10 military go condenados,
Condemned.
condemned to cadena perpetua.
Perpetual
Li-
life
Life.
sentence.
Same.
Based on the evidence from
Yes,
your
thanks
archive.
to the evidence to that 10 girls, 10 of that repressor military go to the jail for the rest of their life. And that is one moment in history because it's the first time to hear transsexual to our part to that history also to the Argentinian. And one important thing is also that in the moment to the family remove the transsexual with 15, 16, or 13 years to the family, and that person are in the street, and that in that moment it disappears, because if one military take care of her, nobody searching for that person. For that, the military use the transsexual for cleaning the room after the torture, clean the car with blood, and also do the look all to happen with the normal society with woman, look kinder born in that place. Also, after the one mother checking the baby there, do with the familia.
It has family?
After when
Descendants.
no, the moment
Oh,
Labor.
parían parto
Labor.
dentro de un lugar de tortura.
They were having labor in torture spaces.
That baby remove and go to wherever family, and that woman never know about to that baby, and the transsexual are who cleaning that room and look all that, because the police never know, never believe to who believe in one transsexual, that for that use the transsexual for doing that job. Lo mejor en inglés.
So transsexuals were the living memory because they were cleaning those spaces, so they could testify with the truth of what was going on, but the police never trust the trans memory. So, but finally they did. So
That when I say the justice for first time here, 10 of the survived girl and tell that kind of history. And that is the job for the archival to in future continue use our document for continue with the justice for the small group to survive that moment.
So that means that mainstream institutions are also starting to use your work for justice and prosecution.
yes, judiciary system.
Yes, because now in Argentina, all the archival know our job and also respect our job. Nearly the working to the other archival official for the country, the worker, not the government. The worker or working in other archival recognize our job and think to we are partner also respect and with other archival because know our job, and also we try to use the most professional, and for that, believe in we are partners, like the other archive.
And I guess the Ukraine War Archive, one of the goals is also to gather evidence for a potential truth commission. Can you talk a little bit about that and how your artistic work also speaks to that?
Yes, I guess the most important part in terms of evidences are still our interviews with eyewitnesses of war crimes. And this is very sensitive job, a very sensitive way of collaborate with them. And also the films that are created based on these interviews are also working in this direction. Of course, the access to the possible access to the materials of the Ukraine War Archive for media, NGOs, and different state organizations as well. I think that they also will do their job in their own way. As for my direction, that is connected with the artistic work, with the archive materials, I think this is, for my humble opinion, this is the most powerful instrument. Of course, we have all these important procedures of gaining accountability, but art still remains the powerful instrument in order to explain some complicated things, in order to keep our identity and to keep the diversity of this identity. Speaking of this important part, because identities, it's more. It is more important to talk about identities, but of course, in terms of artistic work, they use their specific tools, specific sophisticated language and instruments that help them to articulate some things in more expressive way, in more powerful way than just providing some simple data or just ordinary facts. Sometimes we all are aware of this fact that art speaks more powerful with the help of empathy, affect, or engaging your emotions. So this is still, I guess, very powerful instrument in terms of this process.
And in terms of, I'm curious about the reaction from mainstream institutions. You've mentioned before that there has been pushback. Can you tell us a bit more about how that's been and how sort of your demands also have been met by the institutions of the mainstream?
I don't know if there's really pushback, but for sure it's a difficult relation, no? And I think it's a pragmatic relation in a sense that the mainstream institutions are the holders of many of the stories that we want to gather and collect. So there's a relation that is being negotiated, but at the same time, I feel also these archival institutions, and I really want to make that distinction, no, because we oftentimes call our own work archival work, right? But for me, archival work is really what, the way history is being constructed and being made, and the infrastructure of that history is the archive, right? And what are we doing, and can we call what we do archival work, or is it something different? And by calling it differently, we can also think about how to do it differently, no? So I prefer for now to call it memory work, no? And for that memory work, we have this pragmatic relation with the institutions that captures the stories we want to tell, or parts of the stories. But at the same time, when you see these institutions are also preoccupied by the question how to deal with some at times subversive, or contentious traces in their archives, but also doing diversity work, no? Like so these archives ask the question, how can we relate back to the communities of those whom, like the stories we have in our collection. But so far, and we send out signals to these institutions, okay, we are doing the work, maybe we do it differently, and we can collaborate, but we hear that they're getting funding to diversify and make links with these communities, but so far there's no structural collaboration, let's say, or there's no project that we can fall back on.
Thank you very much. I think we now have time for some questions from the audience. So you can raise your hand, and then I think someone will come with a microphone.
Okay, maybe I'll just start. Yeah. Thank you for these very diverse experiences. I am one of the founders of an organization in Turkey, and we do archival work and documentation on enforced disappearances. And so very interesting to see different approaches. My question is to Maria about so you said this started in a home, but now it's become bigger and more known in the society. Do you get pressure from the government, especially now that unfortunately the Argentinian landscape has also changed with the new president and everything? How has that been in terms of do you get oppressed, attacked, anything from the government?
Si es que hoy en día debido al como censura.
Well, and the moment before to that person inside to the government, I don't call president, before that person inside to the government, we have a one local direct to the street. And the moment to win, we do the decision to move in 20 days to prepare. We don't wait to something happen. We prepare because we know the Argentinian history, and we have it for many persecution. We have the liberty and stop the country persecution between 2012. Stop the persecution. We have the democracy, young democracy for transsexual, but we know specific what is kind to the government persecution for that. In the moment to that person win, we do the decision to move. Now we are in one address to nobody know, and we are not direct to the contact with the street. We are on the second floor with the security, with camera, and also with one puerta blindada.
Blinded?
When this extra door with extra security, what is the puerta blindada? I don't know what is. Yes, get out.
Bulletproof
When
door.
also with one door to protect camera inside and all to protect, try to the most possible protect. And also we have copies to our archival in different address. We have 3 different address with the virtual copy to support we never know. For the moment, the girl, also we have the office 2 block for the Congress. All the manifestation is in front of our window. We look everything. We look at the repression to the old person in this moment. We look the repression for the doctor, for the student, for all we look because do it in front of our street. But we try to don't say to we are there because also the girl to need inside to the apartment, and we try to change also the hour for work, for don't go to the house so early, for so late for the night. We are prepared before to that, and for that nos prevenimos. Creo que fue prevention. So
Yeah, they're trying to prevent. They are not waiting for the things to happen, but they are taking drastic security measures to prevent anything that could happen.
Hi. Just to tie it back to transitional justice, I guess not everybody was there for the sort of introduction on the first day, but transitional justice is a set of mechanisms and processes to centering the victims to try to move towards justice under mass oppression. But one of the first principle of transitional justice is the right to information and the right to truth.
No.
And that families have, or families or close ones can actually access this knowledge. And then there's others, that's reparation and right to compensation and non-repeat. And I just wanted to tie that in. And I also wanted to tie yesterday, I was in another conversation that Belen was in, and you said that what you collect now, and I think it maybe is for all of them, there's an urgency when you're doing it, but actually it's there forever. Once you have this information, you just keep building on it. So the truth may, there might be politics around it, there may be repression that continues in different moments and different instances, but what you build now, and you said you may die, you will die one day, but what you have there will always hold the truth. And I wanted to know if you have more to fill on that. I mean, Maria Belén, I heard you say that, so maybe you want to say more, or any of you want to talk about that in relation to truth.
Well, I think I believe in that project, and I believe with the Archivo having the system for future. We do it one group like family. I know too, in the moment too I pass away, the project will continue because it create like that way. Other girl also die working inside to the Archivo, and we continue for respect the memory for that person, because our job is for respect the memory for all that person to die before, and we start to collect that kind of history. And also different countries from Latin America start to do that after our job in Argentina to the Archivo de la Memoria Trans. Now many transsexual to different countries to Latin America start to do it the same. Now we come around to 19 archival trans for different countries to Latin America. September to the last year, we do the first Congress to transsexual archivals to try to training all the small group to start to do the same job to us. And we are so proud to have it. In the moment, it's maybe one crazy idea to my friend have it is only collect pictures in one box. And if other transsexual think to that is the way for protect to our history, the way to approve, to be who shows that pride,
To be proud.
to proud to that job, and to will be I know to in future someone remember me or someone remember my friends.
No, it speaks to the intergenerational aspect of the work that we are doing. I think also one of the starting points was seeing a new generation organizing in the art fields, and having the feeling that they were the first one to ask certain questions and open certain doors and do certain actions. And rather than questioning that new generation, we were questioning ourselves and wondering like what preceded us, no? And then that was one of the starting points. But I think making this link, because an open platform or an archive it's fragile, as I said, like you can destroy the archives, or the traces, you can put just a website offline. And that's why we try to, I think, also engage in different projects with different generations. For instance, on the website, we also invited young poets to go into the stories and to write a poem, or we invited different artists to make and curated a collective exhibition based on certain event that happened. And I think this is also like a collective, collaborative artistic practice where we don't want to isolate the memory work as something from the past, and we don't want to be future oriented, because I think what we are witnessing today is difficult to imagine possible futures. But I think engaging intergenerationally with a new generation and inviting them to deal and to engage poetically or artistically with the material is really something that we want to further engage on, to pass on, the torch from one generation to the other. No?
Yeah, it is so intense to speak right after such deep and powerful answers, but still, I think that I'd like to begin with the point that the possibility of death for all of us is not something illusional or something far, because we are still under shelling, under everyday attacks by Russian missiles and Iranian drones. Just to bring this closer to you, for example, even this is a joke among Ukrainians that common joke among Ukrainians that we don't sleep naked, because we are worried that if missile hit for example, my house, it will be so embarrassing to find some services. Some services to find in this situation. So a lot of Ukrainians trying to sleep in some well suited, in some beautiful pajamas at least, to feel decent in such obstacles. And speaking of the truth, I think that the main truth about this war is the awareness that it is not something far from here, and it is not something far from Europe as well, because I think that it is important to understand that this war is, and Russian intentions, probably from the first glance they may seem absurd, but this is a war that tries to erase Ukrainian identity. So it contains clear genocidal traits, features, and that is why for us this archive and keeping memory and keeping our truth is extremely important. We can't overestimate this, and also it is important to understand that Ukraine was always a part of very intense European history plot. I don't know. I think I'm not a historian to make a quick course in this direction, but to introduce you to this important issue. But probably you can find the lectures of Timothy Snyder. He's a very famous American historian who is also a very famous specialist on Eastern Europe history, on Ukrainian history. And probably it will help you to understand the importance of this struggle, not in terms of our country, of my country, of Ukrainians, but in terms of the whole history, of course, European history more. But I think that it is important for Western people, for Westerns, to be aware of the fact that this war has its roots in centuries, I'm afraid in centuries, and it will continue, and it will, unfortunately, there are a lot of very deep researchers, historians, I don't know, let's stuck on historians, but still, so these researchers are agree that this war has a certain possibility to spread further if we will not stop it in Ukraine, and if we will not help Ukraine to resist it in a proper way.
I don't know if we have time for one more
Thank you very much, Alexandra, for doing this very important job for archiving of Russian crimes, a huge number of Russian crimes in Ukraine. Which part of your archive is ready to be transferred to the tribunal investigating Russian crimes? Thank you.
So, as I've mentioned before, we are not the organization, the type of organization that is ready to transfer our materials directly to the tribunal, to the court. I think that we will. This process will be more complicated. I'm pretty sure that this process will be more complicated. And, for example, our colleagues, such as Tribunal for Putin, this organization is more concentrated on this part that you've mentioned. We are more about to provide our materials for journalists, for media, for NGOs, for artists, for directors, and so on and so forth. But I think that as also it is important to understand that there are so many documenting initiatives in Ukraine. They are collaborating. They are collaborating with each other, and I think that our common efforts will give the result that we all want to see.
Thank you very much. I think that's all that we have time for, unfortunately. But
I'm hearing all of you speak, and I have a word screaming in my head, which is ancestry. Yeah, I'm going to throw it out there, and it was screaming in my head because I have a feeling that when we put that word out there, we start to get a sense of what the work really is. And I wonder if any of you, that word speaks to you, and whether you see yourself as an ancestor. I wonder, because I have a feeling that the work you do maybe changes or gains a new perspective.
does anybody want to answer the question?
Yes, for the past, I try to protect to my important person to have before. I working for the past. What kind to look to me in future, I don't know. And I don't think that. I only think to what I can do with the working for past or the present to my colleague working with me. I only hope to the future the Archivo continue to have other person to say how important is the job to we do with the group in this moment to in future continue protect. The project was created to in that way to is not it's a matter who is in front to the project. If some transsexual continue with my job, and the job to my colleague will be sure to someone will be remember the past girl to we collect the history. Yes, with the ancestors or the mothers to my past, I do it honor to my mother trans. For that, I do it that job. I honor to my friends, to every time I have it with me. For that, I do it that job. And the colleague to working with me also do it with the same, to respect the friends, respect the mother trans. And in one kind, for that, I say yes, we working for that ancestors to respect that past history. I hope in future have it the same idea to me.
Thank you very much. Does anybody want to add something?
Yes, I will add a quick note about ancestors and the colonial aspect as well, because I think this is we are proceeding our work, the work of our ancestors, and we thought it will remain the part of history, but unfortunately not. We are still in our the colonial anti-imperialistic war against Russia still, one more time. I can't count quickly how many times it happened actually during our history. But this is very important thing to mention, that to make everyone aware that Russia is imperialistic country, and this war is decolonial. Ukrainian resistance is decolonial, because this is not something obvious, because Russian colonialism has different feature, different character. It differs from Western colonialism. That is why this is not obvious, and this is important to invite Ukrainian experts, to invite experts, international experts on Ukrainian history, Ukrainian question, in order to explain this part for a wide audience, because it is not something obvious. Because for the other world, for example, from the perspective of Argentina, this war may look, or from the perspective of Black people, this war may look like a conflict between white people somewhere very far, but we also have this colonial past, and this war has this clear decolonial anti-imperialistic features.
No, thank you for that question. I think it's a really important question. Considering the Maghrebi or presence in Brussels, I think, of course, it inscribes itself in a lineage and a histories that are much longer and preceding. And I think the colonial history of the Maghreb, of Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco resonates and still resonates in all our conversations. The Algerian war of independence, but also the Tunisian and Moroccan process of liberation in that sense, but also the post-colonial struggles, the breadth struggles, and the post-colonial predicament, like how authoritarianism also was part of the post-colonial moment, and how this all resonates in the diasporic presences that we are embedded in Brussels, the capital of Europe, and this ancestrality resonates strongly. I think Brussels is the intersections of many different European countries that, if you would draw the line, you could map the world, right? And the colonial history of the world, and inscribing ourselves in that ancestrality, in that ancestry is really important. But then, I don't know if I understood your question well, how to place and consider ourselves as potential ancestors, but then maybe we need to reverse our conception of time, and I think we agree we want to turn our back to the future and, experience the past as something, in the everyday.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all three of you. And thanks everyone for the great questions.
Thank you.